The last beta update is here, and both Castorice and Anaxa have received their final changes before release. And honestly, they are looking absolutely busted. Castorice is now an even scarier AoE Remembrance DPS, while Anaxa might just be the strongest E0 hypercarry we've ever had in the game. These changes may seem small at first glance, but when you break them down, it becomes clear just how insane these anniversary units truly are. Before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can keep up with all HSR leaks. First, let's talk about Castorice. The most important change she got in this final update is a slight increase in her skill damage, which, while minor, is still a straight buff to her overall DPS. But the bigger change is to her E2, which now lets her generate 10% more ultimate charge after her dragon explodes from her talent. This change makes her ultimate uptime even better, and considering her entire kit revolves around massive AoE damage, HP scaling, and resetting cooldowns, this is a big deal. The more ultimates she can unleash, the faster she cycles her insane burst damage. Even before this update, Castorice was already looking terrifying as the main Remembrance DPS. With these final buffs, she has cemented herself as a must-pull for anyone who wants a top-tier AoE DPS. And what makes things even crazier is that Hyacine, the rumored 3.3 support, will take her to an even higher level. If the leaks are true, Hyacine will be a Remembrance healer who boosts HP teams, which would fit perfectly with Castorice's kit. This means that even though Castorice is already extremely strong right now, she's only going to get stronger as future supports release. Her scaling potential is insane, and if you care about meta and long-term viability, she is shaping up to be one of the best anniversary units we've ever had. Now let's talk about Anaxa. His final change was a small nerf to his talent, which now increases damage by 30% instead of 40%. At first, this might seem like a downgrade, but the reality is that it doesn't really hurt him much at all. His skill and ultimate multipliers are still very high, and everything else about his kit remains extremely powerful. Anaxa has already been compared to Serval as an upgraded version of her, and this remains true even after this final beta change. He fits perfectly into Herta teams, and the way his kit works makes him much better at E0 than a lot of other limited DPS characters. But the biggest winner here is his light cone. The previous version was already good, but the new version, it's straight up broken. Let's go over what it does now. LC gives 10 energy at the start of every turn, 60% bonus damage against enemies with his implanted weakness, and 24% DF reduction on enemies when attacked. This means that at E0S1, Anaxa is one of the most self-sufficient hypercarries in the game. He doesn't need a ton of external buffs to reach his full potential. His light cone alone does so much for him that he can spam abilities, keep his ultimate up constantly, and shred through enemies with ridiculous multipliers. This is what makes Anaxa a must-pull if you want a hypercarry that works even at E0. He doesn't have the scaling issues that some other limited DPS units do at lower eidolons, and that makes him an incredibly safe investment. With these final changes, both anniversary units are looking like some of the strongest we've ever seen. Castorice is an unstoppable AoE DPS with insane synergy in Remembrance teams, and Anaxa is now an incredibly strong hypercarry even at E0. If you need an AoE DPS that will only get stronger in the future, Castorice is an amazing investment. If you want one of the best E0 hypercarries who doesn't need tons of eidolons or supports, Anaxa is an insane choice. If you're a meta player, both of them are incredibly strong picks that will stay relevant for a long time. So, what do you think? Are you pulling for Castorice, Anaxa, or both? Let me know in the comments, and of course, I'll keep you updated if anything new drops. Thanks for watching.